be a 1 to 3, 4 year program. Do they need to get in there, get their feet wet a little bit, and then?
I went through the transition from, all I did all my life was draw. Mm-hmm. So I used to draw, and it was like cartoons, and then I wanted to be a comic book guy, and then I went into the OCAD, and then I went into illustration, and went, oh no, that's too lonely. So then I went into graphic design because I think I love the typography and how the systems work. But then again, that was a bit lonely. And what I liked about advertising, again, so here's over 3 years, was the collaboration and working with people. And back to your question earlier about a thing that they should have, is that I think to Angus's point, maybe it's a way to dissect it, is sort of a passion or an energy for it, or like a desire. Because regardless, it's going to keep you. Like I sometimes see people in student books, and you can sort of like they're kind of going through the motions. They're not jazzed. They're not like.
They don't have that realization yet.
Well, I think because even if you're a passionate person about something, it might guide you to something else, right? But at least if you're into it, and I think that's. I mean, we look for people that have optimism in them. You know, that generally are like problem solvers and optimistic, and we can figure it out. So, and people like that are also fun to be around.
Yeah.
You know, and I think creative people like that are awesome. I mean, look at the way it's going with all the massive integration and many touch points.
And you guys, you're reading my notes here. Like you're leading right into my next question.
I cheat.
So there was an article. Yeah, I sent you guys the cool notes.
Advertising and cheating.
There was an article published in Fast Company. I don't know if it was published in the actual mag or just online, but it was the future of advertising.
Yeah.
So while it's still hot and fresh and everyone talks about it, where's the future of advertising? Like, what's really going to happen here? Let's say short term and long term. Where do you see it going? Where would you like to see it go?
I don't know. I mean,
long term, I'm going to be flying that Learjet. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, nobody really knows. Nobody has the answers.
Mm-hmm. It's like mortgage rates.
A little bit. I mean, everybody. Obviously, it's going to keep changing. The digital revolution is going to continue. So, I mean, 5 years from now, what kind of technology is going to be literally in our hands? I don't think anybody really has any idea. But I don't know. I do believe that ideas, regardless of their form, are going to continue to be really powerful and really important for brands to separate themselves from other brands. And whether that's in the social media space or whether it's in the experiential space, whether that's branded content, whatever the heck it happens to be, design. You know, this thing is an idea that's beautifully realized and all that kind of stuff. But someone had the idea to make it look like that, and that. Then they just applied it in that particular industrial design form. But, ideas will always be important. It's like with movies, I mean, stories. We're digesting them in different ways, whether it's on digital cable, whether it's online, whether it's actually still in movie theaters and things like that. But a good story, a good idea, they always bubble up to the top. And they always, they make more of an impact and more of an impression with more people than just kind of the same old shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What he said.
I talk way too much.
No. It's I guess for us or any advertiser or advertising agency, it's just keeping on top of how consumers are thinking and what they're feeling, and I think it's nice now that consumers have more choice and more power. So how do you work with that? It actually makes us have to do a better job, I think, and even be more transparent and things like that. So
it's a good point. Transparency is really key now, is it not?
Yeah, and I love it from a corporate level too, right? Because I can find out everything about a company now. And if I'm a mom and I want to find out about something, I can go deep on companies. So I love that.
Or even if you're a dad.
Or a dad, sorry. I don't know why I went moms, it's always mom. And so it keeps us honest. But I agree, like Angus says, it's much more... It's still around ideas that probably permeate in more different ways than they used to,
which is really cool. I mean, it's about the most exciting time to ever actually be working in advertising because you have so many more tools at your disposal. So it just enables you to actually be more creative, and you can actually put into play ideas that you may have had 3-4 years ago, but there's just no way you were going to make that happen. And technology is a big part of that. Like Guide Home in His Underwear, we couldn't have done that a year ago, just because streaming video wasn't pervasive enough, and the technology wasn't there to actually do what we did with a Guide Home in His Underwear.
Which is a great campaign.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
And
but technology is super important.
It feels like it's the
for
50s again.
students.
It feels like it's like inventors. It's the time of inventors. What do you think? No, I was just thinking like with this technology moving so quickly, it's like we can invent stuff.
that's cool.
So I think that's what's exciting people is like we don't know, so and there's potential.
Yeah.
So for us, it's kind of neat because every year we're like, we can do that. Really? All right, let's do it.
Just how big your imagination is, really, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, that's often the discussions that you have after you come up with an idea. You then go, is that technically feasible?
Yeah.
And then we go running to the production department and just say, can we actually do this? And then they go, I don't know, you might be able to, because I just read about something happening here, and then which is way different than 10 years ago when if you came up with an idea for a TV ad, you pretty much knew you could make that TV ad.
Right.
So
that's cool. Guys, that pretty much wraps it up. Is there anything that you want to add that we haven't covered for any of the viewers?
Just make sure your books are awesome. Be really, really hard on yourself.
Use
books.
use people in the industry to help make your book better. I think sometimes teachers stop at a certain point, and I think the people that are actually working in the industry, find someone, call them, meet them, and then get them to be
That's a great point. I think one of the things that we're doing, like through AdBuzz, is we're really promoting to say, listen, these guys are approachable. You guys are approachable. Get a hold of them. Find out what they really think of your book. It's not necessarily an interview. It's what does my book look like? Is it any good? And some people are really doing that. They're out there. They have to do mock interviews and stuff in school, but they're going beyond that call. And their books are looking way better. So I think that's a great point, Stephen, that you say that.
Yeah, it's tough leaving the voicemail though. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you are. I think your best bet, definitely send it first electronically. Just say, hey, could you please take 10 minutes and just review my book. And generally, what we'll do is it's just easier to do that. You're bored, and it's always very hard to resist opening someo's PDF.
Yeah.
Like it's almost impossible not to. It's
Curiosity.
like, hey, look what's in this shiny wrapper. And then you look at it quickly, and then you'll either go, oh man, it's really hopeless, and then it's hard to. Sometimes you then go, all right, I think I'll just close that window and then look at all my other emails. We shouldn't do that. Jeff Roche scolded us all publicly at the ABCC show. Not Steve and I personally, but basically the industry.
After. But I mean, think about your audience too. Think about the agencies you're sending your work to. Think about their lifestyle. Think about how busy they are. So I think sometimes people send portfolios and packages, and don't
make it super easy.
Super simple and easy.
Send in your PDF. Don't send the whole thing. Send 3 to 5 of your best pieces. Like just wet my whistle a little bit.
There was a kid at Amirati when I was working at Amirati who sent a book.
Yeah. What was that guy's name?
Russian. Czech.
He's gonna see this and he's gonna.
But what he did was he just sent like a photocopy, a little write-up of what he thinks how ads should be, always in black and white, which is a really nice paragraph. But again, he was designed it, and then he had 3 ads, and they were all good.
Wow.
So it was immediately, let's see this guy's book, and it was the best 3 in his book.
Right.
Yeah.
But it
got a meeting, right? Got a meeting,
Yeah.
and it literally took 30 seconds to look at his email, open his PDF, and you go, okay, it's worth seeing that guy.
That's great.
So just like we want to get back to you because we remember what it was like when nobody returned our calls, but it's just really busy. So the easier you can make it on creative directors. Don't do boxes. Don't send boxes with like a foot in it saying, now that I have my
or
foot
running
in the door.
share.
Don't do that. Like, or like an arm. I give my right arm to work at JohnSt. Don't do that.
What about the
Literally,
big pencil?
Yeah, the guy, like, someone sent a huge pencil. It was like this big. My 8-year-old loved it, but I hated it. So if you're out there, I really apologize.
Yeah.
They had big ideas, and the big pencil was a way of. It's just.
But you remember it at least.
Yeah, but that's what my mom says. My mom says, "Oh, I saw this horrible ad last night." But maybe that's what they want. They made it horrible, so I remember it. To which I always say to my mother, "You remember it was horrible. So now you have this horrible association with this product."
Great.
Man, I'm just getting all revved up now.
That's good.
Starting to.
Guys, thanks so much for meeting with AdBuzz. We'll obviously post the links and show all the work that you guys are doing. And you guys are doing kick-ass work, and we really appreciate that and see what you guys are doing for the brands. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.